Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. It's about 4:45 on July 29th, 2013. We're going to take a look at the chart. Folks, this is not an easy chart to get a good read on in the real short term because we're seeing little peaks and valleys that are just kind of all over the place in the 5-minute chart. We're going to try to make a little sense out of it. Before we do so, I just need to remind you that the website and the video are for educational purposes only, and nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. I am not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. So as we look at a 15-minute chart, I think you can see what I'm talking about. Here the past 6 days, just very little of this conforms to anything that makes a whole bunch of sense. We've got little moves that appear to be out of bounds, and then we've got various interpretations of different things. For example, we're trying to figure out where this bottom line is. Well, I thought it looked like we could use these 3 points, but you can see that clearly there are now 3 points that occurred after that. So we can move the line here, okay? But now we ignore these 3 points. So what do? Well, I'm going to put it here, because this line now is indicating the more extreme part of the of this little range that we've been trading down in. Now, what about this top line? Well, nothing lines up. I thought maybe here, here, and here, but then we got this little open on the 24th that was up at around 1698. So do you do that? Well, I've already got that line. So what do? Well, I think we'll keep this one, but I'm inclined to just make this one right here go away, because it doesn't seem to really be lining up with much at all. Now, what happened today? Well, today we were basically, and I'm going to get rid of these two here, just because I don't think we need them right now. Today we saw weakness, and then a little rally, and then what appears to be some weakness a little later in the day. I mentioned that there is a bearish interpretation of this chart. With what we saw today, I think we need to be mindful of that and look at this line right here as being important support. You say, how important? Well, I would say roughly 22 points important, because that's the height of this pattern. So if this line right here was to break down, then this would end up being a left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. We measure the point from where it would break down, and that takes us right down to about 1655, which coincidentally is where we would hit a line where I would expect what I guess you would call the first line of defense if this were to break down. Now, I also mentioned the possibility of a bullish situation in which we would have a left shoulder and a head, and then a potential right shoulder with a neckline at 1698. Well, did anything happen over the past 3 days that might give us a little clue? Well, actually, yes, it did. There's a possibility that we may be seeing a small inverted head and shoulders forming over the past 3.5 days. But this is only a possibility. It is in no way a certainty. And there's no way you can say that this is the more likely outcome, which, by the way, if this small pattern were to break out over this line that I've highlighted, that would mean that we would also come up and break out over 1698, and by way of figuring our minimum target, we should be getting up to roughly 1707, 1708, based upon this small pattern right here. But again, this is not a complete pattern. But likewise, this larger potential pattern is also not a complete pattern. So we're right about where we left off yesterday and over the weekend, which is we're watching the sketch artist, the cartoonist, draw something. We don't know yet whether it is a giraffe or a monkey. We just don't know. We know it's a beast. That's about all we know. And it could be that, well, I was going to say it could be that none of these end up being the case, but I really don't believe that, because our trigger points, we got a neckline, a potential neckline here. We have a potential neckline here. Both of these are bullish. And then we have a potential neckline here, which is bearish. So going into tomorrow, I think the best advice I would have is we watch these three areas to see if any of these three get taken out tomorrow or the next day, or frankly at any point this week. So that's about all I've got for right now. The market has really gone essentially for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. We are really, we've gone nothing but sideways. If you look at where we were at the high on the 15th, we were right at about that 1685 mark. And now we come to it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days later, and here we are at 1685. So really this has been mostly sideways action. And the longer we go sideways, I think the longer we have to be open to the idea that this may just be a consolidation that leads, I'm thinking, with a predisposition towards an upwards breakout. But until it's done, it's not done. So guys, let's just kind of stick with it. Let's watch it tomorrow and the rest of the week, keeping our eyes on this support line. If it breaks, then I think 1655 is easily in the cards. This little line right here, if it breaks, I think we likely would come up and touch 1698, maybe get a little resistance, bounce back, then head on up to first our minimum target from this small inverted head and shoulders pattern, which would put us probably around 1707, 1708. But then that would also be just the inverted head of a slightly larger inverted head and shoulders that has a target around 1722-ish. So there's your video for July 29th, 2013. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this, and thank you especially for your support. Please take care, and let's see what this sketch artist shows us in the next day or so to give us a little bit more inclination just what kind of beast we're dealing with. Take care.